Alright guys, we're here with the GL650, and for this video what I want to do is do a overview of what we've done to this point, because now it's time to go ahead and start tearing it down to do the refinishing and make it look good. So here we go. Alright, so to start off, this is a 1983 GL650i. The I model being the Interstate. This thing had the full bags on it and stuff, and a huge fairing, and this thing weighed a lot. I've knocked well over 100 pounds off this bike, and throughout the process we've done a lot of stuff to it. So, the front end itself, we're not really making any changes here. We've got a different headlight set up, and I made a cool kind of like post-apocalyptic fabricated headlight grill thing. Gonna look really cool. So what I have to do is finish weld that thing, and then we'll do final finishing on it, whether it be clear coat over metal or whatever. We'll figure that part out. So next up is I have a TrailTech Vapor mounted up here on an aluminum bracket that I've welded to the stock top triple, and that's gonna be like a real nice simple layout, really clean looking, fits here well, and then we still have access to the fuse cover. Alright, so moving around the back here, what we've done is we've done the subframe here, and then most recently we've got this flush LED system here. We made this channel out of some steel, sunk it into the hoop, and then this is going to allow us to run a LED flexible strip in here, flush mounted, very clean. So we took some time on that. Got the seat pan here that we've built, and then underneath it I have the regulator rectifier mount that you're not going to be able to see. Beyond that, there's really not a lot going on under here. And the next thing I want to do, once I get this thing stripped down, is go ahead and build kind of like an inner splash guard here, just to kind of box that in and keep any kind of debris and stuff from shooting directly at the air filters and the regulator rectifier. Underneath the tank, we have just a couple, like the igniter mounts. We have maybe one or two other things. This thing's going to have a very simple wiring harness on it. We're going to use like stock style controls and just kind of slim down the factory harness and give it kind of the bare bones essentials. And then yeah, after that we have our fabricated side covers. We did these out of some stainless steel mesh. It was a gigantic pain in the butt. It took a long time, but I like how they turned out. And stainless steel mesh with like some eighth inch solids, you know, like some 1/8 inch round bar, and just hand formed them, and then did a lot of soldering to get those. For the rear suspension, what we have is a CBR 954 rear shock. It can almost be a direct bolt-on. You have to do a couple modifications. The way I chose to do it to gain some ride height was actually to modify the mid-link here, and that's a GL500 mid-link versus a 650, which has a different end on it. You saw I built the kickstand here. So this was out of necessity. I went to go extend the original one between not being able to find materials and then the fact that this was just going to be about the same amount of labor. So it just made sense to do it that way. Underneath here, we have our battery box, and that's going to hold an anti-gravity 8-cell. Those are the batteries I commonly use. And yeah, all I have to do with that is do the battery strap for the top once I get the actual battery in, because I want to specifically set the tension on it, and that'll be good to go. I might put a little rock guard or skid plate kind of thing on underneath the battery tray itself, just to add a little bit more protection on it under it. For the exhaust, I have the stock headers, and then I have them modified with a 2-in-1. I have a crossover from the left cylinder coming over here. They come into a 2-in-1 merge from Cone Engineering, and then that gets an upswept bend into a Cone Engineering stainless steel muffler. I've used these things a bunch, but I have actually not had one on a CX, and I know this thing's going to sound really good. So yeah. Another thing we did is the CM or CB400, like the Hawks, 450 Hawks, Rebel 250s. Like, these ignition switches are very compact. You know, 2 mounting bolts are very easy to make mounts for. We did that with a matching fuel cap that fits on the GL tank, so we have one single working key, which is awesome. Some Renthal bars up here. What else we got? It's a pretty straightforward bike. I mean, there's some K&N filters on it, and we'll do some other bits here and there. I have some bar and turn signals that are going to go on here. They've already been mocked up. And yeah. So another thing I have to do once we tear this thing down is I want to turn my attention to the little the frame sections here. So I'm going to go ahead and cut, modify, and make it blend and make sense for the end here. We'll get rid of this tube. So this is just a rough cut. We'll detab a couple more things, and the frame will then be ready to go. It'll be looking good. Alright, so as I mentioned, we're going to tear this thing down. So what I'm going to do, what the plan is for me, I've ordered a bunch of parts, and the goal is to go ahead and strip this thing down. I'm going to take the engine and just kind of set it aside. I won't touch that right now. And because space is always at a premium here for me, what I want to do is work on getting it back to a rolling chassis as fast as possible. So we're going to do fork seals, we're going to do new wheel bearings, we're going to sandblast the frame and the wheels, the swing arm, and then we're going to refinish those. Now, we're not going to go powder coat or crazy paint. I'm going to probably do like a lot of like higher quality spray paints with like 2K clears and stuff like that for added protection. So it will be easier and probably more cost effective in the sense of time that I have these things like sandblasted and then cleaned. So anyway, we're going to do a taper roller conversion for the steering bearings here. So that's going to be a nice little upgrade. Those are coming from All Balls. And then, like I said, wheel bearings, since we're having these things sandblasted, you know, it's just a good thing to replace anyway. Fork seals, I have fork boots going over these. It's going to be a little tricky right here. We'll see how they fit. And then after that, what else do I got coming for this thing? Oh yeah, I got some pretty rad tires that are gonna kind of fit the vibe. So I haven't used them before on anything. I know they're really popular, and I normally wouldn't go for them, but after we built this and then the side covers, it's like, yeah, it kind of needs those. So you'll see them when I get them. But frame's going to be probably just a nice satin black. We'll do the swing arm to match. I'm debating on if I want to do like a brushed finish on the fork lowers or just do those in a satin black. And then the wheels themselves, we're probably going to do probably like a bronze color actually, just to kind of offset, you know, some of the gold in the bars and maybe the yellow shock. Play around with that, you know. We know we could go black. We know that would look good. And yeah, just want to try something maybe a little bit different. So yeah, once the bike is back to a roller and I can start cleaning that up, then I will go ahead and turn my attention to the engine. I'll get this thing power washed. The engine itself should clean up really well. There's going to be a few bits that I need to put a little bit extra time in, and from there I can go ahead and detail it. You know, we'll clean the valve covers up and clean the exhaust up and just make sure everything is good to go on it. I did have this thing running in the past. I know it's fine. So yeah, get the engine cleaned up, get it back in the bike, and we'll probably start on wiring. So yeah, and then after that, kind of honing in towards the end, we got to start working on the tank and upholstery and stuff like that. The tank itself, we're probably going to end up doing in like a bare metal with clear over it for just even more aggressive look. It should look really cool. So yeah, pretty excited about it. So yeah, this is always an exciting time, is whenever we get to start tearing something down, because that's a big moment. You get to refinish stuff, start bringing it back, and then you get the full picture. You get the full idea of what it's going to look like. So again, really excited about it. I know I probably haven't shown as much in depth on this bike. That's because I did start this project like a few years ago at this point, well before I even had the channel, so I had already done a lot of stuff. Now, anything I do in the future, obviously I try to make sure I make a video on within reason. and yeah, provide some information and hopefully entertainment for you guys. Anyway, stick around. This thing is definitely going to start taking shape. Keep an eye on my social media. It's just Brickhouse Builds across the board, whether it be Facebook, Instagram, obviously here, and then my website. And if you want to just keep tabs on that, just go ahead and subscribe and like, share, follow, comment, whatever you want to do. So yeah, that's going to wrap it up for this one. Just a quick overview again before we take the next stages in it. So you might not see it for a little bit, but we're going to be working on it, trust me. So anyway, that's going to do it for this one. If you want to support Brickhouse Builds even further, head over to my website. I have hats, hoodies, t-shirts, stickers available. If you want to pick any one of those items up, that would be great. Those help me out a lot. And we'll get them shipped out to your door as fast as possible. So anyway, I hope you guys like this little recap video, and I hope to see you in the next video. Thanks for watching.